Hello students, welcome to Notebook. What happens when a group of mischievous kids are left under the care or supervision of a soft and lenient grandmother? The mischievous children often drive her mad with their antics and break all rules. In fact, they take rule in their own hands. Now, think of the Mughals in the late 18th century. Something similar happened to them. The Mughals had ruled over the Indian subcontinent for a long time. But round the 18th century, their power grew weak. The British colonizers captured parts of their empire and began to grow in importance. The Mughal empire started declining during Aurangzeb's rule. He destroyed the wealth and military power of the empire by fighting a long battle with the Deccan king. His successors could not administer the empire well. The subordinates, or the Mansabdars, grew very powerful and began to control the provinces. Peasants and zamindars were rebelled against Mughal authority. Sometimes pressure of taxes lead to these rebellions. At other times, local chieftains, Mansabdars and governors wanted to rule independently, and hence they protested. Mughal rulers also faced the threat of foreign invaders. The ruler of Iran, Nadir Shah, attacked and robbed Delhi in 1739. The Afghan ruler, Ahmad Shah Abdali, also invaded North India 5 times between 1748 and 1761. These rebellions and protests, attacks and loots depleted the wealth of the once rich Mughal empire. The wealthy people in Delhi turned into beggars overnight. The nobles of the Mughal empire were divided into 2 groups or factions which fought against each other. These 2 groups or factions were the Iranis and the Turanis. The Turanis were nobles of Turkish descent and the Iranis were nobles of Iranian descent. These 2 groups turned the later Mughal rulers into puppets. They even assassinated or killed the 2 Mughal rulers, Farrukhsiyar and Alamgir II. The Mughal Empire divided into a number of independent regional states. These states can be categorized into 3 overlapping groups. These were the old Mughal provinces or states like Awadh or Oudh in Uttar Pradesh, Bengal and Hyderabad. The Watan Jagirs or states which were administered by the Rajputs and had enjoyed much independence during Mughal rule, and states ruled by the Marathas, Sikhs and the Jats. Let us learn about these new states and how they were governed by the new rulers. Who founded these new states? Sahadat Khan, Murshid Quli Khan and Asaf Jah were high-ranking governors or Mansabdars in the Mughal Empire. Sahadat founded the state of Awadh, Murshid founded Bengal, and Asaf founded Hyderabad. They had earlier been appointed as governors of these regions by the Mughal emperors. Nizam-ul-Mulk Asaf Jah was an important and respected member of the court of the Mughal ruler Farrukhsiyar. He was appointed as the governor of first Awadh and then the Deccan region. The capital of the Mughal rule was in Delhi. So it was difficult for the Mughal rulers to control or administer far-off regions like the Deccan. The Deccan region was facing economic and administrative problems. Nobles were fighting amongst each other for power. Around this time, Asaf Jah took control of the region and changed its political and administrative structure by making new policies. He brought soldiers, administrators and Mansabdars from North India and gave them responsibilities in the Deccan. He still served the Mughal Empire, but he had the right to make his own decisions. The Mughal ruler just confirmed his decisions. Thus, Nizam-ul-Mulk Asaf Jah founded the state of Hyderabad. The British were also gaining power in the Deccan around this time. when Asaf Jah tried to control the rich textile producing Coromandel course, he faced opposition from the British. Let us now have a look at the foundation of Awadh. Burhan-ul-Mulk Sahadat Khan was appointed the Subadar of the rich and fertile Awadh in 1722. He was the Subadar, Diwan, and the Faujdar of the area, that is, he controlled the administration, finance, and the military affairs of the region. As a result, he grew very powerful. How did Sahadat Khan extend his control over Awadh? He reduced the number of officers appointed by the Mughal emperor in this region. He appointed his own Jagirdars and reduced the size of each Jagir. The Jagirdars, as you know, could collect revenue or tax from the Jagirs given to them. The officials in the Nawab's court checked the accounts of the Jagirdars to prevent cheating while collecting revenues. A new class of Mahajans or moneylenders and bankers became very important during Sahadat Khan's rule. The state depended on them for loans, and it sold the right to collect taxes to the highest bidders or buyers. A class of revenue farmers or tax collectors who collected revenue from farmers also emerged. The state gave them enough independence to assess and collect taxes. In turn, they agreed to pay a fixed amount of money to the state. Local bankers lent money to the revenue farmers and guaranteed or assured the payment of the fixed amount to the state. How did Murshid Quli Khan from the state of Bengal? Murshid Quli Khan was appointed Naib, or deputy to the governor in Bengal province. He seized power quickly and began to control the revenue administration of the state. He transferred the Mughal Jagirdars to Orissa. Taxes were strictly collected from all zamindars. The poorer zamindars had to borrow money from the moneylenders to pay their taxes. Sometimes they had to sell off their lands. So, in Bengal too, the state and the bankers were closely connected and dependent on each other. Under the rule of Alivardi Khan between 1740 and 1756, the banking house of Jagat Seth became very prominent or prosperous. We will now have a look at the Watan Jagirs of the Rajputs. The Rajputs had enjoyed autonomy or independence in their own reigns or Watan Jagirs under Mughal rule. They extended their control over the adjacent or neighboring regions and gathered more power. The rich and influential Rajput families became the Subadars of the rich provinces of Gujarat and Malwa. Raja Ajit Singh of Jodhpur was the governor of Gujarat, and Salwai Raja Jai Singh of Amber was the governor of Malwa. They extended their control over Nagpur and large portions of Bundi. The Marathas led campaigns in Rajasthan and challenged the power of Rajput principalities. We will now talk about the rule of the Sikh, the Marathas, and the Jats. Guru Gobind Singh organized the religious community of the Sikhs into a political party known as the Khalsa. They helped to build regional states in Punjab. There was great unity among the members of Khalsa. They successfully resisted or fought against Mughals and Rajput rulers. They struck or issued coins in the name of Guru Gobind Singh and Guru Nanak. Their leader was Banda Bahadur. The Sikh also organized themselves into a number of bands called Jathas and later Missals. The Sikh used to meet at Amritsar during the festival of Baisakhi and Diwali and take resolutions or decisions together. These decisions were called Guru Matas or Resolution of the Gurus. The Sikh territories extended from the Indus to the Jamuna in the late 18th century. They were ruled by different rulers. How did the Marathas gain power? Shivaji was the Maratha chief who built a strong kingdom with the support of powerful warrior families known as Deshmukhs. Peasants and pastoralists formed his army and they challenged and defeated the Mughal army. After Shivaji's death, the power of the Maratha kingdom passed into the hands of the Peshwas. The Maratha Empire expanded under the Peshwas. The Marathas were known for their military power. They captured Malwa, Gujarat and areas of Rajasthan, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Bengal and Orissa. Trade and commerce flourished under their rule. New trade ties were formed and the cities like Ujjain and Indore became rich and prosperous. Scindia of Gwalior, Gaikwad of Baroda and Bhosles of Nagpur were powerful Maratha chiefs. The Jats rose to power under their leader Churaman in the 17th and 18th centuries. They gained control over territories to the west of Delhi. By 1680, they had begun ruling the region between Delhi and Agra. The Jats were rich agriculturists or farmers. Towns like Panipat and Ballabgarh became important trading centers under their rule. Under the rule of Surajmal, the kingdom of Bharatpur became a strong state. Many notable members of the kingdom took shelter in this state when the very powerful Irani ruler Nader Shah attacked Delhi. The Jats built a beautiful palace at Dig. They were influenced by the styles of architecture they had seen at Amber and Agra. With that, we come to the end of our video lesson on 18th century political formations. Think of how the different rulers took control of the Indian subcontinent after Mughal rule declined. They administered or governed their states and kingdoms differently. Yet, their structures of administration, like the system of revenue, were similar. Moneylenders and bankers grew in prominence. Think of your state at present and its system of administration. Who do you think are the most powerful people in such a system? Discuss with your friends. See you soon in our other videos. Till then, happy learning!